private issues prevents me from recording the team news over the past few months. Hoffenheim ended on a high note by defeating Hertha Berlin in the Pre-Zero to close the 2020 and 2021 campaign. The team lagged on the 11th position in the league table and just managed to escape from the threat of relegation. We did not change a lot in terms of the performances and tactical formation in my opinion. Somehow I like the formation of Elversrode last season. There was a time when we were afraid of the relegation of this season. Luckily, the team could get some important points in the matches against Mönchengladbach, Leverkusen, RB Leipzig and Freiburg. Hoeneß finally redeemed himself to be a potent head coach to bring the team out of danger. However, was the team performance really satisfied? Apart from getting important points, one would feel the team very uninteresting to see, distancing itself from the club football philosophy. Sometimes the team really got no plan to attack. The players got no accurate passes, creativity and vision to break down the resilient defense easily molded by other opponents. It is fatal to rely heavily on the flank passes, especially solely from quarterback's effort and sometimes individual efforts from Bilbao down the right-hand side. Other players, well, their conditions has always been rather poor, even including Kamaric, who scored 20 goals and records for assists this season. We could no longer be entertaining and threatening as previously did under the Nagelsmann era. The best moments so far comes from the counter-attack and sporadic chances. Sometimes the team could only win a match by using low block defensive tactics and delaying the possessions as long as possible. I don't know the exact daily situation on the training ground, but it seems that Sebastian Hoeneß has been naive in assessing the ability of other coaches in Bundesliga. Otherwise, he should not have satisfied what he conducted during the training session. The so-called attacking plan was simply too simple to break down the wall. How could you expect Mainz and Augsburg not to fill up the spaces in their own half, simply letting you in? It was undesirable to watch every single match this season unless you always hope that Hoeneß could assemble the boys to fight and kick for the best of the team, unlike in the opening match just against Bayern Munich. Another big problem was the low rate of clinical finishing. Sometimes the full chances were not converted, but instead the players shooting wide or shooting into the goalie. Should Hoeneß have done something to reverse the poor conversion rate? To be fair, the players themselves should take up some responsibilities. Yet, Sebastian Hoeneß is clearly not the best candidate to coach Hoffenheim if given with other better alternatives. His players' management was also very questionable. For example, how could you always be first to use the out-of-form Belfodil and put Adam Young on the bench? Simply for your information, Adam Young was selected to be the player of the team in May. Although we must say, as Alexander Rosen mentioned, there may be some excuses for the rather poor performance given by the boys of Hoffenheim. Well, I really believe the team should have been used to play without some core players since the first half of the season. COVID-19 was also a short-term factor only. There were a lot of opportunities for Hoeneß to show that the players bounced back from the difficulties, but the team didn't respond it much, at least mentally. Neither Elversrode nor Sebastian Hoeneß was a desirable substitute to Nagelsmann. And the best period so far, ironically, since the departure of Nagelsmann, was the last few matches marshaled by Rapp and Kaltenbach at the end of last season. They could significantly encourage the team to play a high octane and entertaining football at the same time. This kind of tactics could overshadow the defensive loophole, but could the players sustain the momentum every matches? Anyway, this period was only temporary, and Hoffenheim was still steeped in post-Nagelsmann syndrome. The team still has no clue to find such a genius tactician like Nagelsmann. Of course, it is unfair to compare Nagelsmann to his successors. For instance, Ernest was only the third Liga coach beforehand, and this was his highest achievement in his short-span coaching life. In the normal condition, we would expect him a leapfrog in the coming season. Owing to his inexperience in the top professional football coaching, but he was a good coach. He should have cut short the transition period in the second half of this season. It was not a harsh requirement, given with enough matches and ample players. Maybe thinking about the internal promotion for our youth team or recruiting potential young coaches from Austria Bundesliga, for example, could help revive the team playing philosophy, performance, and results. The most urgent problem is to find a right person to eradicate the defensive errors and fragility and improving the player positioning. It is always difficult to maintain a balanced and threatening formation throughout the 90 minutes. The defensive problems already occurred in the ending years during the Nagelsmann era. Drawing on improving the defensive problems may somehow go against our club football philosophy. This is an important area our club management needs to think of, whether you want the club to be the top 4 competitor in the league or just a financially viable player selling club. For the next episode, we will talk about other issues and players of our team this season. Stay tuned.